Hello, and welcome once again to Yoga for Kids and Their Adults. My name's Tony. I'm here at Me Time LLC, a massage and yoga studio here in Troy, Alabama. This program is sponsored in part by the Charles Henderson Child Health Center. They are a pediatric physician and dental office supporting children from birth to age 19. They fund this program through a grant that they received from the Children's Trust Fund, whose purpose is to prevent child abuse and neglect. So thank you for tuning in once again. And today, since everyone seems to be on summer vacation and things are kind of all up in the air, I thought we might focus on some centering and breathing and balance postures today. So if you have a yoga mat, go ahead and get it out. If you don't, that's okay too. We are going to basically be on our feet for the most part and then come back down to the ground to breathe. So if you need a blanket or a towel, you can get one, or you can even just practice on the bare floor. So make sure that you've moved the furniture out of your area. That way you're not going to accidentally hit yourself or push someone else into the furniture while you're practicing. And if you have little ones who like to kind of participate but not quite participate, and that's okay too. That's all part of the fun. This is all about the kids and the adults who love them. And sometimes their idea of activity is a whole lot more fun to them. So if you are ready, we are going to start by centering and grounding ourselves by standing in our mountain pose. Do you remember what mountain pose is? That is when you're standing upright. Your feet are directly under your hips. Your knees are over the arches in your feet. So that puts a nice bend in your knees. Your shoulders are over your hips. Your ears are over your shoulders. And your arms are resting at your sides. Now, this can be a nice resting pose where you're not really active, or we can activate it. Are you ready to activate your mountain pose today? Amazing. So to activate it, we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up to make it a really strong, active pose. So you can feel strong like a mountain. Okay, so to start, we're going to start at our feet. You're going to lift your toes up, spread them as wide as you can, push them down into the ground, and pull them together. So imagine in your mind that you are a bat hanging from the ceiling, and your toes grasping your ground is what's going to hold you there. All right. If that doesn't work for you, if bats are kind of not your thing, just imagine you're on this big old spinny ball like the earth. And if you don't hold on to the ground, it's going to spin you right off into space. So grasp onto the ground. And this is going to activate not just your feet, but also your lower legs. Okay. From here, moving up, again, making sure that your knees are over your arches so that it gives a nice bend to your knees. Nice bend to your legs. You're not going to lock your knees back. From here, I want you to see if you can tilt your pelvis up in the front. So this is going to be a nice posterior tilt, because it's going to bring your posterior down while it brings your anterior or your front up. Okay, what this is going to do is going to straighten your spine a bit. And it's going to activate your hip and your glute muscles, your belly muscles. And so far, from the waist down, you are active and strong. Can you feel how active everything is? Whew, we're getting a workout here. From here, moving up to the shoulders, I want you to consciously bring your shoulders down and back just a little bit to activate those upper back muscles. Okay, this is going to keep your posture nice and upright. Keep your head up, chin up, eyes level with the ground. We're not looking at the sky and we're not looking at the ground, but your eyes should be level. Your hands, I want you to widen your hands as much as you can, and then keep that level of tension as you push your hands down towards the ground. Can you feel how that activates every single muscle in your body? Wonderful. Now with this, I want you to take 3 full deep breaths. And on your third exhale, relax. Okay, so in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more. Keep it strong. In through the nose, and relax. Let everything just melt. Can you feel the difference between everything being active and just having it a nice, relaxing recovery pose? Great. That's what's going to help us ground through our breathing and our balance exercises. So, while we're standing upright, you might not think of it as a balance exercise, but really it is keeping you upright and you're not wibbling or wobbling to either side. So this is the very basic balancing posture. It's also going to be our base pose that we're going to return to after each pose. So from here, let's try two-footed balance postures. Okay, that means we're going to keep our base, a nice strong mountain base, and then we're going to do things that might challenge our balance just by standing here. Okay, so again, activate your feet and your lower body. And tilt your hips down, so it brings your pelvis up in the front. And now we're going to take a nice deep inhale, bringing our arms up over our head. And as we exhale, you're going to move your hips to your left and your hands to your right in a nice crescent pose. We're going to hold this for 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale out the mouth. Very good. Inhale. Exhale out the mouth. Last one. Inhale. Exhale out the mouth, and as we inhale for our next breath, we're going to bring our hands up towards the sky, and exhale and bring our hands down to our side. Remember, we're going to return to our mountain pose after all of our postures here. This gives us a nice recovery pose, and that way, if ever you get lost, you can just go back to your mountain and follow along for the next one, okay? Also, I forgot to mention earlier, if there's anything that we're doing here that you're not quite comfortable doing, that's okay. Just kind of back it down a little bit and see if you can find a variation that works for you and your body, okay? Always honor what your body is telling you it wants to do or is willing to do for today. And that might be different every day, so you can come back and try things again. All right, so now we're going to breathe in, bring our hands up overhead. We're going to exhale, bring our hips to the right and our hands to the left in a nice crescent pose. Try to keep your legs straight. This is a nice challenge to our normal balance because our eyes are not exactly level with the ground, which is where they want to be most times. And our bodies will do crazy things to keep our eyes level. So we inhale and we exhale. We inhale and we exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. And on our next inhale, we're going to bring our hands back up to the sky. Exhale, bring them down to our sides in our nice mountain base pose. How are you feeling with this? Are you feeling good and confident with our balance here? Okay, now to keep our base strong, let's see if we can do an intense pose. You might know it as the chair pose because when you do it, it kind of looks like you're about to sit in a chair. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start off with my nice strong base in a mountain pose. And as I breathe in, I'm going to bring my hands up to a 45-degree angle and lean forward just a little bit. And as I breathe out, I'm going to sit down in my chair. I'm going to try to keep my knees over my arches. I'm not trying to bring them forward because that'll actually hurt your knees. And we're going to hold this for 3 breaths. Are you ready? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And now as we inhale, we're going to straighten up our legs, bring our hands up tall. Exhale, bring our hands down to our sides. How did you feel? Did you feel nice and strong in that intense chair pose? Amazing. Now, again, whenever you're doing this, only go as far as you're comfortable going. Maybe you're not comfortable bringing your arms up like that, and that's fine. You can just kind of balance and see what your body's comfortable doing. So now that we have our base nice and strong, let's see if we can balance on one foot. Now, if your balance is a little off or you have any question about it, you can always be right next to a wall and use it for balance, or you might have a table or a chair in front of you, and that way you can kind of hold on until you're comfortable depending on your body's sense of balance. Okay, so we're going to get in a nice, strong mountain pose. That means activate everything from the hips down. And we're going to shift our weight over to the right. Now, we're going to start off with the very, very basics of tree pose. And all that is you have your weight on your right foot and just lift your left foot. This is going to get you used to balancing. And if you wibble and wobble, that's okay too. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, see if you can bring your knee up. Wonderful. A little more challenging, bring your knee to the side, leaving the flat of your foot on the inside of your right leg. And now for the rest of the pose, you bring your hands to prayer at heart center. And if you really want to challenge yourself, you can bring your hands all the way up to the sky and be tall as a tree. Wonderful. Go ahead and bring your hands back down, bring your knee to the front, and put your foot down and just kind of shake your legs off. That might be a lot after we've had these strong mountain poses and our intense pose there. So just kind of shake it up. We'll do this a couple of times to make sure that you're comfortable with it. Now go ahead back to your strong mountain pose. Activate everything from the waist down. Shift your weight over to the left this time. And again, start off with the basics. All right, just lift your right foot up. And that's fine. A little bit more. Bring your knee up. A little more challenging. Bring your knee out to the side and the flat of your foot against the inside of your left leg. A little bit more challenging. Bring your hands to heart center. And the full posture, bring it all the way up to the sky. Feel like a nice strong tree pose? Wonderful. And it's okay if you wibble and wobble. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has wonderful balance in its own way. So go ahead and bring your hands back down, your foot back down, and go ahead and shake out your legs. Wonderful. Now, let's see if we can stretch our spine just a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring our hands up with an inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to dive down towards the floor. See if we can bring our hands down to the floor. Now, if you can't quite get that far, just bring them down as far as you can. You can grab onto your knees. You can grab onto your shins. You can even grab onto your ankles. If you can bring your hands down to the floor, that's fine too. And we're just going to hang out here for about 3 to 5 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale again, exhale again. And on your next inhale, bend your knees forward and roll your back up until you're upright in a standing posture. How are you feeling? It kind of turns the world upside down when you bring your head down, doesn't it? That's why this is actually a balance posture. Let's try that again. I'm going to do this from the side this time so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so we bring our hands up as we inhale, and we dive down towards the floor as we exhale, keeping our legs semi-straight with a minor bend, and you can bring your hands down as far as they're willing to go. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And if you have a little wiggle, you can wiggle your hips back and forth and just feel how that changes things. Last breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then bend your knees and roll your back up until your head is upright again. How are you feeling with this? Amazing. So now, let's see if we can go through all of them together in kind of a sequence. So we start with mountain. We sit into our chair pose. Come back up to mountain. Go into our tree. Back down to mountain. Tree on the other side. Back down to mountain. Forward fold. Bend your knees and roll up. How was that? Do you feel balanced? Because some of those can be kind of challenging. I'm glad that you were able to follow along. Excellent. Now, sometimes a posture is very intense on the balancing. All right. And it might not be a one-legged posture so much as a one foot in front of the other kind of posture. So for those postures, we're going to start with our wide stance. We're going to turn our feet first to the right. And you can see you might need to hop one foot in front of the other. That way you have a better stable stance. And you're going to turn your hips to the side. Bring your arms up overhead, and you're in Warrior One. Actually, bend your front knee. There we go. That's Warrior One. Are you feeling nice and balanced? Good. Now bring your hands down behind you. See if you can clasp your hands. And bend your top forward in a humble warrior. This is where the balance can get a little challenging. One more breath. And then go ahead and bring your top up. Bring your hands down. And then lift them up overhead back to Warrior One. And then turn to the side and level your hands in a Warrior Two posture, looking over your front hand. Now this might not look like a balancing pose, but wibbling and wobbling from front to back can definitely be intensely challenging with your balance. Go ahead and drop that back hand, flip that front hand up and lift it up overhead in a reverse warrior. Then we're going to we're going to spin our arms out again, level with the ground to a Warrior Two. Straighten up the leg, turn your toes to the front, see if you can level them out, and fold forward. This is a nice wide forward fold before we get onto those warrior poses on the opposite side. When you're ready, bend your knees, come down into a little frog pose, and pull from the hips until your top is upright. Are you ready for the next side? Again, nice wide pose. Think of it like a wide mountain. Okay? Turn your toes to your left this time. Make sure that your toes are all pointing that way, your hips are pointing that way. You're going to bring your arms up overhead with a nice inhale and bend that front knee. Warrior One. As you exhale, go ahead and bring your hands down, clasp your hands behind your back, and bring your top down to the top of your leg. This is humble warrior. When you're ready, go ahead and bring your top up again. Bring your arms up overhead in your Warrior One. And then bring your arms down. Let them float up level to the ground as you turn your hips to the front again and looking over your left hand. Warrior Two. Moving through all of these poses can challenge your balance, so make sure that you're allowing yourself a little bit of grace here, okay? Go ahead and drop that back hand, flip the front hand palm up, lift it up overhead in a reverse warrior. Then we're going to cartwheel our hands out level with the ground again, back to Warrior Two. Going to straighten up that front knee, turn our feet to the front, and bend forward, touching the ground. Now, all these postures will challenge your balance, so do not be shy about giving yourselves permission to tumble and kind of wiggle back and forth. From here, see if you can bend your right knee. Give a little stretch here. Again, we're still working on our balance here. Go ahead and straighten up your right knee and bend your left knee. Straighten up that knee. Bend both knees, and then pull from the hips until you're upright again. How are you feeling? Let's get back to our mountain pose. Do a nice little forward fold. Bend your knees, come back up. And let's come down to a seated posture. I'm a big fan of easy pose when it comes to breathing exercises. So you can do this easy pose or crisscross applesauce, as your kids might call it. And just try to make sure that your spine is up tall. Imagine that there's a little string at the top of your head pulling you up towards the sky. That little visualization of being pulled up towards the ceiling can help you lengthen and straighten your spine. You can bring your hands to your sides. I like to rest mine on my lap. You can bring them palms up, palms down, whatever you're comfortable with. From here, I want you to observe your breathing. How are you breathing today? Are you breathing in just to the tip tops of your lungs? Are you pulling the air all the way down to your toes? Let us focus on grounding ourselves by breathing. Just take 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. That's 1. Inhale. Exhale. That's 2. Inhale. Exhale. That's 3. So, now that we've kind of grounded our energy, we're trying to calm down. Let's bring your right hand over your heart, your left hand over your belly, and take another couple breaths and observe what is moving. Did you know that your body moves when you breathe? When you breathe in, your chest expands and gets tall. When you exhale or breathe out, your chest collapses and gets small again. If you're doing some nice belly breathing, when you breathe in, your belly should come out, and then when you breathe out, it goes back in. So observe how you're breathing today. Where is your breath going to? Is it your top hand that's moving or your bottom hand that's moving? Let's take a moment and observe. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Can you feel as your body's calming? Anytime you get anxious or nervous or upset, you can always come back to your breath and have it assist you in calming down. This is one of my favorite things to do. Whenever my son is really, really anxious or he doesn't want to go to sleep, we just focus on our breath. And before you know it, he's calm and peaceful and maybe a little snoring. But that's okay. That's cute. At this point, I'd like to give thanks to all of you for joining me for today's routine. We've balanced and grounded today. How are you feeling? Excellent. You can always practice just taking 3 full deep breaths, observing where the breath goes, and that will always help you to calm down. Peaceful. So once again, my name is Tony. I am here at Me Time LLC, a massage and yoga studio here in Troy, Alabama. This program is sponsored in part by the Charles Henderson Child Health Center. They are a pediatric physician and dental office here in Troy, taking care of children from birth to age 19. They fund us through a grant that they received from the Children's Trust Fund, whose purpose is to prevent child abuse and neglect. Thank you again for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed our balance and grounding, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, the light in me is grateful for and recognizes the light in each and every one of you. Be kind to yourself and others. Namaste.